Hello YouTube and welcome to my second awfully good video. You might notice continuing errors in this video where I splice in video I recorded earlier because while I was uploading the first video I actually had to go out, have a shave, change my shirt, get into uniform and go to the barracks for a training night. So I'm now clean shaven, different shirt, so some continued errors will be in there. In my first video I talked about offal, and I gave you a recipe for some liver. So in this one I'm going to continue on to kidneys and heart, and then I'll give you my steak and kidney pie recipe. So I hope you enjoy. Now you've got your fresh liver, generally you'll need to trim it a bit because there are sort of tubes and vessels in there which are a bit chewy, and in some cases they're where the nasty flavour is in some of them. So I would just slice it thinly or cube it, and then you can just cut out, keeping as much meat as possible because you've paid for it, and it's delicious. Some recipes you just cook around it and you'd leave that on the side of your plate. I've got an old recipe for whole kidney, but you can't really get that anymore unless it's from your kill, because EU regulations say they have to cut the kidney to make sure it's alright. When you're trimming kidneys, the best way to do it is just slice them in half and then trim out the middle bit, which is, you'll be able to see a distinct change in colour and texture from the outside, which is the tasty nice bit, and the inside tubey bit. That inside tubey bit's where the strongest flavour is, which you don't want, and it is just tough and rubbery if you do try and eat it, so cut that bit out. I have seen someone do it really nice, just like a little trick where they just did a curl with a knife, but I've never been able to do that, so I can't tell you how to do it. Heart. Hearts do really well as stews. They can be great just added to a pie. Anything that requires steak, you can just put heart in. Heart has a really lovely flavour and it's really good. It does require a bit of slow cooking though, so it's not good for sort of flash frying because it's quite a tough, strong muscle, being as it's always working. There's some recipes for offal, and now I'll come on to my favourite recipe for offal, which is steak and kidney pie. For this, I won't give you exact figures and so forth because I don't know the size of your cooking dish, I don't know how many people you're going to serve, but I'll generally say you need about between 2 and 3 times as much stewing steak, which is could be just chuck, or if you feel fancy, silver side, something like that. But some nice stewing steak, about 2 parts to 3 parts of that, depending how much you like, to 1 part kidney. So if you've got 10 ounces of trimmed kidney, you'll want about 20, 25, maybe 30 ounces of steak. You dice both those, you trim out the bits I said out of the kidney. Okay, you want to take the steak and the kidneys, fry them up in a pan till they're not pink anymore. Fry them up with some onions, so you have some nice golden onion in there. And then you want to take that whole mixture, you want to add about 1/3 pint of good stock, just bone marrow stock, something nice, or a beer stock is always good. You'll then want to sort of thicken that up with some flour, so depending how thick you like it, I like it sort of a thick gravy. I can't really describe it, sort of gloopy almost. So not a sludge obviously, but a good thick inside of a pie. If you're using about 1/3 pint of stock, you should need about 3-4 ounces of flour should do it. You'll want to add any herbs you'd like. I'd suggest fairly strong herbs. Well, not overpoweringly strong herbs. Just some parsley, maybe some bay, maybe rosemary if it's lamb kidney. But they're all quite nice. But something subtle like sorrel, that'll just get completely lost because kidney has the nice strong flavour there. And then to that, as this is my steak and kidney pie recipe, we'll add some wild mushrooms because I love wild mushrooms. For something like this, again, you're really losing out on delicate flavour. So something like puffballs, where they'll take on the flavour of the stew, that's really good. Or something strong like bluets. Bluets go really well in the steak and kidney pie. And add a dash of Worcestershire Sauce, just because Worcestershire Sauce makes things taste better. And then you want to put all of that in your pie dish, which can be lined or unlined as you like. I don't know how you'd prefer to do it, but generally when I'm doing a pie for myself, I don't put a crust on the bottom because that's just extra work. And I'm not going to tell you how to make pastry because, to be quite honest, I'm crap at making pastry. Ready-made pastries, cheap and dead easy to use, so generally I do that. But you can put pastry on the bottom. Generally you use suet pastry on the bottom of a pie dish, and then you'll have either puff pastry or shortcrust pastry on the top. Anyway, put the whole mix in the pie dish. You bake that for about an hour and a half on quite a low heat, just to make everything nice and tender and lovely. But you don't want it sort of boiling away to nothing. You just want to simmer it gently and just have it going in the oven. And then you want to cover the top with your pastry and bake that for about 20 minutes at the higher temperature. And you serve that with mash, because pie and mash is good. Or you can do it with chips, and by that I mean English chips, not American chips. So going back to the hunting thing, I'd say in my experience the kidneys from one roe deer would make probably a one-person pie. Admittedly I do eat a lot of pie. Whereas red deer, which are about the size, well, they're a bit smaller than peaty, I think that's how you say it, the American elk, a bit smaller than that, but they make a pie for about 3-4 people because they've got much, well, not much bigger kidneys, but they've got bigger kidneys. I'm not really sure of the size of a whitetail's kidneys, so haven't gone hunting whitetail yet. But let me know how the steak and kidney pies go. Enjoy the offal recipes, and good eating.